live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Here we go. It is time to begin my 2026 NFL mock draft. Now, I do have some trades. I do have some surprise prospects that are going to fall further than people anticipate they will. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Here we go. Number one, without question, Fernando Mendoza is going to the Raiders. The Indiana quarterback won the Heisman Trophy last season. No further explanations. He is going to be the Raiders' first pick. No secret. Number two with the Jets. I have heard it is down to two players, and they're not leaking anything, so we have a 50-50 chance of it being David Bailey or Arvell Reese. The question is, who do they go with? I would have said Arvell Reese earlier in the draft process. As of the last couple days, I'm leaning David Bailey. I think it's going to be David Bailey. My gut feeling is it's going to be on. They need pass rush. David Bailey's going to be the pick. I would be not surprised if it's Arvell Reese, but I just have this feeling. Even though David Bailey didn't take a visit with the Jets, it's going to be him. Cardinals at 3. Now, I have heard the Cardinals want to trade down, which is where the fireworks get started. Jay Glazer's hinted that somebody's going to trade up to 3. He just can't say who it is. I will, though, because I'm going to predict it. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to trade up to 3. How rich, you ask? Well, I know why they got that extra first-round pick for Trent McDuffie. Because the Cardinals like an extra first-round pick. They know they're never going to be picking this early ever again, which is truthfully true. But you know what's going to be the worst part about this? Is they're going to get one of the best players in this draft, which I'm going to go, oh no. And I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. There's a reason Cardinals are trying to trade down. I have the Chiefs getting Arvell Reese. And it pains me to say because I don't want this to happen in theory, but the reason I'm putting 2 and 2 together, Cardinals know they don't really have a guy they love at 3. If they had to pick someone at 3 because they can't find a trade partner, it's going to be Jeremiah Love, but I do think somebody's going to get really desperate, and I think somebody with multiple first-round picks, Dallas, Kansas City's going to move up to 3 and grab somebody they really want. I think the Chiefs know we're never picking in this spot again. Let's just give up both picks and go Arvell Reese, and that's exactly what's going to happen, I fear. But I don't care if Yoham gives me shit on it. This is my mock draft. I want to be different from other people's. That's okay. Number 4, we have the Titans, and they're going to take one of my favorite players in this draft. Give me Jeremiah Love because this guy, I watched him 2 years ago. He was awesome. I watched him this year. He was awesome. Him and Cam Ward in the backfield, that is going to be awesome, and I think they're building for the future. Give me the Titans to take Jeremiah Love. Number 5, the New York Giants, who have a very good situation to be in, especially getting 2 first-round picks inside the top 10 following the Dexter Lawrence trade. I think they're going to go get somebody that a lot of people think, ooh, that might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm going to tell you this. They love this guy from all the reports I'm seeing, and they really are fans of him. I think that they're going to get him before all these guys start to kind of go off the board. They want to get ahead of it. They want to make sure they get their guy at 5. Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State, is going to go to the Giants at 5. They love him. I know that they believe if they can get him and Caleb Downs, they're going to be in great shape. I thought they were going to go Sonny Styles. It might be a smokescreen, but I really think they like Jordan Tyson a lot. And imagine Tyson and Neighbors with Scatterbo, with Dart, and you got Isaiah Likely. That's some good material, and you can fill the rest of your needs in the draft. And I really like the fact that the Giants have 2 first-round picks to capitalize. They're going for it now because they know they got to be competitive. And John Harbaugh with 2 first-round picks, I don't think they're going to mess it up. Let's go to number 6, Cleveland Browns. They're another team looking to trade down. I think they're going to get tackle, not with this pick. Somebody else is going to move in, and that's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys are going to be in this situation where they're going to have to give up that 27 first-round pick with Green Bay because it's going to have to come to this. They're not going to move 12 and 20, I think, to go get who I think they're going to pick. They might have to give up that first rounder next year. I know a lot of teams are hesitant to part ways with 2027 first-round picks. You might have to do it, though. I am thinking that Dallas is going to have to give it up to go get a player that I really like on this board, and I'm surprised that isn't going in the top 5 yet, and I think it's going to be Sonny Styles to the Cowboys because I think Dallas needs a linebacker at the second level. They just lost Logan Wilson. They have good pieces up front. I think they're going to get get edge later, but I think they got to get Sonny Styles. He's the perfect 3-4 inside linebacker. I think this is a great get. I think Sonny Styles fits exactly the profile of the linebacker that they want, and I think they're going to get edge later. Washington Commanders, they need to get younger. They need it. Another team looking to trade down, but I think they're not going to get a partner to trade down with. I think they're going to get Jaden Daniels, a receiver. I have them selecting Carnell Tate from Ohio State because they needed wide receiver. Terry McLaurin did not do well last season. He's getting up there in age. They have to get younger receiver. They need a proven receiver. Carnell Tate, to me, could be a good 2. McLaurin still can be a number 1, but Tate's going to have to be that perfect number 2. He was that last year at Ohio State. I think he's the perfect Robin to McLaurin being the Batman in the receiving corps. Tate, McLaurin, I love that for Jaden Daniels. Get him some wide receiver help. That's exactly what they're going to do. New Orleans Saints, I have them taking Mansour Delane from LSU. I think it's the perfect fit for them. I think they need a corner. I think that him from LSU basically gets to play home. It's a good get. So I wouldn't say home because I know he was somewhere before that. I'm trying to remember. It's escaped my mind. Virginia Tech. It was one of those schools I remember. He gets to go stay in Louisiana, play for the New Orleans Saints. Arizona Cardinals, one of 2 first-round picks they get. They are going to get the offensive tackle they want here at number 9, Francis Mauigoa. And I think this is going to be a huge get for them because they need to go get a right tackle. Paris Johnson solidified at left tackle. I think they're going to go get a right tackle. Mauigoa, to me, is going to be the first offensive tackle off the board. I see multiple sources thinking it's going to be that way. I have no doubt to believe that that would not be true. I have Mauigoa going to the Cardinals at 9, and they're going to get somebody later. You're going to have to listen into it. Giants with their second first-round pick. It's going to be a dream come true for Giants fans. I swear I'm not trying to get on my friends that are Giants fans watching this show, and I'm not trying to get their hopes up. I actually think this is working out really well for them. Harbaugh's going to get the guy he wants. Caleb Downs is going to go at number 10 to the Giants, and I think this is a huge get for both Harbaugh and the Giants. They both get 2 studs. They're going to be instantly competitive in year 1 under Harbaugh. They address 2 of the biggest needs, 2 of the best players in this draft. I think Caleb Downs is a home run for the Giants at 10. I don't think he falls past them, so he's going to go there. Miami, who has a lot of holes, and they have a lot of picks. I actually think they're going to get Spencer Fano because I think with Spencer Fano, they need a tackle, and I think they're going to get receiver late. They're going to get some other needs. There's going to be another pickup they're going to get that I think is going to be a huge get for them. I've got Miami Dolphins taking Fano at right tackle. They're going to get other pieces, and they're going to fill out some important needs. Let's go to number 12, Cleveland Browns, where this pick might actually be a pick that I think might surprise a little bit of people. I could see this player getting drafted later, but I have this feeling they need to rebuild their offensive line. They lost a lot of their starters due to free agency. I think they're going to get a guy that might be a little bit high on a bit of boards. I was going to float with Caden Proctor. I think they're going to go with Monroe Freeling. I had Caden Proctor, but then I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading into this draft a little bit more, I think they're going to be all right with Monroe Freeling. They need somebody that can be productive on the offensive side. I think Freeland's going to be that guy at left or right tackle. The Rams. This is a very interesting spot because they could pick Makai Lemon, who they love. They can go get tackle here. I actually think for them, they're going to get one of my favorite players in this draft because I think they're looking at it like, we don't need a huge receiver with this pick. Let's get the best player we can get. And they're going to get one of my favorite guys. And this might be a reach, but this guy's really good. I've got Kenyon Sadiq going to the Rams. They need a tight end. I think that Kenyon Sadiq you could use in so many different ways. I know Tyler Higbee's been solid for them, but Kenyon Sadiq with Devontae Adams, with Puka, and you can get another receiver in round 2. Oh my God. Sean McVay, embarrassment of riches. I think this is a huge get. Sean McVay gets a fun tool in this offense. I think Kenyon Sadiq's a home run hit for the LA Rams. Get the best player. I think he's one of them. I think Sadiq's a guy they're going to really love. Baltimore Ravens in this spot. Now, I think they're going to get the Penn State guard, Vega Ione. I think this guy, he kind of fits the bill of what a Baltimore Raven is. I do think he's a guy that he can maul people. They're going to be a running team. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. This guy's a very well-graded guard. I think this guy fits exactly what Jesse Minter needs in a team that I think he wants to match his identity. I think Ione is a home run hit for the Ravens. We have another trade that I'm going to predict right now, and I think it's going to be involving a team that has a good amount of draft capital. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to trade with the Tampa Bay Bucks, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that Tampa Bay is going to be in a situation where they don't really love what they can get, okay? But I think the Steelers know, okay, if you believe in Will Howard, it makes sense why you're doing what I think they're going to end up doing. I think they're going to have to give up some picks for this. I think a third and a fourth, maybe a late 4, early 5 for to move up, and they're going to get a guy that I think a lot of people want at this spot now. I have the Steelers taking Makai Lemon because I think, look at the teams behind them. Let's go to, I want to see if we can go to the teams for a sec. The Jets need wideout. Panthers need wideout. Okay. And then you got the teams in the 20s that are going to try to move up, but I think the Steelers get ahead of the curve. They already have size with DK Metcalf. They just need a pure route runner. Makai Lemon fits the bill. Give me Makai Lemon to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 15 in a trade. Now let's go to the Jets now. You got to edge with David Bailey. I don't think you double dip and go Bain. You could decide, okay, well, we don't need Caleb Lomu. We don't need Dylan Thieneman yet. That could be later. I think they're going to get a guy. This might be a stretch and a reach live when we see it, but this guy is a really good pick, and I think he's going to go earlier than a lot of people will predict him to go, and I think so. I think the Jets are going to get Omar Cooper Jr. I've heard that they love Omar Cooper Jr., and I think you're going to start seeing all these teams that want receivers get a little antsy and tentative to move up because they're like, well, how many teams are going to start going to receiver? I think it's going to be the Jets start a little bit because they saw the Steelers take Makai Lemon. They're like, damn, let's go get Omar Cooper Jr. And that's when you're going to start seeing a couple teams that need receivers move up. The Detroit Lions. I have been told that they really, really like Caden Proctor. And I think that's where the smoke is fired. Give me Caden Proctor to the Lions. They need a right tackle. Well, no, a left tackle, actually, because Penei Sewell's right tackle. Although I think Sewell could play both. But I think that they need a left tackle. Caden Proctor's played it at Alabama. I think that for them, if they get a big 6'8" tackle with Sewell, they got some mean dudes, some physical dudes, and that's what Dan Campbell's identity falls with. I think that the Lions get Caden Proctor with their pick. Now, the Vikings. I have been told they love Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, and I think this is another guy that is a really, really good player. Harrison Smith's getting older, and I think they let him go. I think they let him go. But I think this kid, he's got the size that Harrison Smith had. He's fast. He's going to play all around. I think this dude is one of my favorite picks in this draft. Dylan Thieneman to the Vikings at 18. They really like him, and I see why. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. And I would be surprised if he does not get picked in round 1. Carolina. They need a couple pieces. Now, it's like, well, where do they go? Because they need tackle. They need a couple of things. I think they're going to get Caleb Lomu. They need a tackle. It makes sense. And I know they've got Ekwonu and Moton, but Lomu could play a little guard if they need. And I think that if they're not sold on the tackles, they need help for Bryce Young. Lomu's a guy that can play inside or outside. Give me Caleb Lomu to Carolina in that pick. Now let's go to the Cowboys at 20. Now, I want to go over who's left for just a moment. We have Reuben Bain Jr., not picked yet. You're going to know why after I tell you guys some information. Jermod McCoy is a notable name, has not been picked yet. There's some injuries on him that you guys have to know. I'm here to tell you guys right now, do not be surprised if any one of these two guys are falling this far. Why, you ask? Well, let's go to my notes that I have written down. So Reuben Bain, he was cited for a 2024 incident for a reckless driving incident that a passenger was put in a coma and then they died 3 months later. That teams are investigating and are aware of. So they're doing an investigation on that whole thing of how much his stock might fall. Plus, if you remember following combine measurables for all my combine nerds out there, his arm and hand size, not really good for the combine measurables. Historically, those guys never turn out well. That's why I think you're going to see guys like Cassius Howell and Bain fall in the draft. I think Dallas is looking at it like, okay, well, we have Quinnen Williams in the middle. We have some young guys that are doing pretty good. You're telling me Reuben Bain is still there and we didn't have to trade up to get him? Dallas takes Reuben Bain at 20. I think this guy is going to benefit when he has other guys that are occupying a lot of attention. I think Bain will be a really good player, but we always have that one name where we're like, how did he fall to that pick? Well, it's going to be that pick. It's going to be Bain to the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is going to get his pass rushers. And I think this is going to work out really well for the Cowboys because you get, in my mind, the best linebacker in the draft, and you get arguably a top edge rusher in the class in Bain, who jumped off my screen in the college football playoff. I mean, take that. You take that if you're Dallas. I know you hate giving up 27 first-round pick, but snap, if you get Bain and you get Styles, come on. It's a great deal. Tampa Bay. I think they're going to go Keldrick Falk here because they need an edge. I think Todd Bowles will find a way to use those pass rushers that fit in his blitzing scheme. I think Keldrick Falk fits the bill for Todd Bowles. He gets an edge rusher. They need a guy that can affect the passer. Tampa Bay gets their guy in Keldrick Falk. The Chargers. Now, they need help on offense. And their offensive line was atrociously bad. So I could see them going guard. They don't need tackle. They got Joe Alt. They got Rashawn Slater. They're going to go get guard. They're going to get one of my guys from Oregon that I think is pretty good prospect. I think he's honestly lower graded than a lot of people have him projected. And I think he should be higher than what most people have him. I think they're going to take Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon. I think this is a good get. They need somebody inside. They lost Zion Johnson. Their interior offensive line was not very good last season. They need to protect Justin Herbert. They'll get receiver in round 2 or 3. It's a deep position for that group. Get the guard, protect Herbert. Harbaugh's big emphasis has been protect Justin Herbert. That's going to be the move right there for Jim Harbaugh's group. Let's go to number 22, the Eagles, where I think they're going to get exactly the A.J. Brown replacement that they want. And I think they're going to get Denzel Boston from Washington. I can see a scenario where they're looking for a guy that can do exactly what A.J. Brown can do. In my opinion, Denzel Boston is that guy that is very close to A.J. Brown as far as size, catch radius. He's a little faster. He runs really good routes, maybe a little better than A.J. Brown does. I think he's a guy that's really well-rounded. I think that's the guy the Eagles draft at receiver to replace A.J. Brown. They did get Dontavian Wicks in a trade. They still got Devontae Smith, but they need a bigger receiver that can stretch the field. Denzel Boston's got a lot of tools that I think would fit in an Eagles offense that is a run-first offense, but needs to develop a passing game. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns, where they're looking to get a wide receiver and a tackle, which they did get earlier. I think the Browns go Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M. I think he's a guy that can help stretch the field a little bit. He can run routes. I think the Browns get their wide receiver. And I think it's honestly a pick that you have to look and say, well, why won't they go Blake Miller? It might be a reach. And I think, honestly, they're going to get that wide out. I know they could rebuild their offensive line. I think they'll get one more either in round 2 or 3. But I think they're going to go get Concepcion, and it's going to be a huge get for them. So I'm going the Browns to get Casey Concepcion with their second first-round pick. Chicago Bears, who have a real choice here. Do they want to go Peter Woods, or do they want to go Caden McDonald? Do they want to go Akeem Mesidor and get edge? Because they need somebody in the front 7. Depends who they want to go with. I think they're going to get a guy that, to me, is going to occupy so much attention in the middle. Grady Jarrett, he's good, but he's more of a pass rusher. He's not really a good run defender. They need a guy that can stop the run in Chicago. I think you get a guy that I think is creeping up some people's mocks. I think the Bears take Caden McDonald from Ohio State. I think he's a guy that will be a late first. And I think a lot of people are going to go, wow, a little earlier than predicted. But I think he's going to be a guy that Chicago needs to defend the run. You look at teams that want to run in that division. Green Bay wants to run. Detroit wants to run. Minnesota doesn't run a lot. But if you get a guy that can stop the run and make them throw, he fits exactly what that division is going to have. Caden McDonald to the Bears, for me, is that pick. The Bills. Now, I think they're in a pretty good spot here to go get a really good player here. I think the Bills have to get an edge here. They need defense. Joey Bosa's injury prone. I feel like for them that they haven't had, again, Russo's good, but he's not a pass rusher that can get to the quarterback consistently. Like, he's good, but he's not a guy that you have to worry about speed-wise. They need a guy with speed. I think Akeem Mesidor fits the bill for the Bills. They need a speed rusher. Russo's more power. I think Mesidor's speed, he's a good prospect. I think the Bills will be able to land him. I think pair him with Bosa, and they pair him with Russo, and that interior of Oliver. That's a good front four. And again, Jim Leonhard is a really good defensive coordinator. I remember him from Wisconsin. He was really good there. I think Jim Leonhard wants guys that attack. Akeem Mesidor, to me, all he did was just attack the line of scrimmage when he was in Miami. He rushed upfield. So I really love that pick for the Bills. Akeem Mesidor falls there. The Niners. Trent Williams is getting up there in age. They need some help on the offensive line. But you could argue they kind of need other things. And they're going to have their pick, but I'm going to go with a guy that might go a little higher than people predict. I think the Niners take Blake Miller because they're going to need a guy that, to me, is a big tackle. I think he's a little bit more athletic footwork-wise that fits with Shanahan's zone blocking scheme. And who better to learn with Trent Williams being there? And if Trent Williams retires, you have a guy that can learn under him for 1 year. I think he could be left or right tackle. I like Blake Miller to the Niners. I do. Let's go now to the Texans, who I think it's safe to say defensively, they're fine. They need offensive line. I know people are going to say, well, what about receiver? Well, you do realize they have Nico Collins. They have Tank Dell. They have a good group there. Their offensive line has been terrible the last 2 years. I think they get a guy that might, again, be higher, but they need a guy to help protect C.J. Stroud. I think you have to go in this case, honestly. I think they're going to go interior because they did get draft picks. They did get Braden Smith at right tackle in free agency. I think they're going to have to get somebody that is going to be there for them. And I think that the move would be to go get maybe a left tackle, but I don't know who would be available at left tackle. I'm going to look briefly while we're looking. I don't view Hencourt as a left tackle. I view him as a right tackle more. I think they're going to go with Chase Besantis. They need interior presence on the line. I think they could use guard play. I think Besantis is a guy that for them, they can use that offensive line to protect C.J. Stroud. Their defense is stacked. I don't think they need that much. I think offensive line-wise is where the problem is for them. Arizona, here we go. I think this is where things get really, really interesting. I think because they got that second first-round pick from the Chiefs, I think they're going to take Ty Simpson. Logically, it makes sense. I think it's a move that, again, if you're able to get Simpson and you get Malagoa, you got a good building block of young guys that I think will prosper really well in Mike LaFleur's system. Give me Ty Simpson to Arizona. You always want that quarterback on that fifth-year option, too. I think that's why Arizona's going to take him late in round one. Miami again. Now, let's look at the board here. You've got Jermod McCoy. You've got Peter Woods. You've got Colton Hood. You've got edge guys like Zion Young. You've got guys like Jacob Rodriguez, C.J. Allen, Avion Terrell. I kind of think Miami is looking at Jermod McCoy and going, I don't know how the knee is. We're going to move off him. Christian Wilkins is gone. He's been gone for a while. They kind of need to figure out what pieces they can build around. I think they're in this situation where is Colton Hood a reach at 30? I don't know. I think that, honestly, I'm looking at, if I'm Miami, I remember when they got Wilkins years ago, and I think Peter Woods is a guy that you look at the division. Buffalo ran a lot. New England ran. Vrabel's going to want to run. The Jets are going to want to run. Miami might be in that position where we might go get the best player available. I think Miami's going to get Peter Woods. Because I feel like, again, they need, if I know Troy Aikman's going to be in that draft room, who helped pick out Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley had a lot of guys that did the dirty work, but that could rush the passer. Well, Peter Woods is going to be that guy that might be what Devontae Wyatt was in Green Bay that occupied a lot of attention. Peter Woods is a guy that needs to help stop the run. And I know people are going to say, well, that's not really a good pick. Sometimes teams take the best player available. I think Miami's going to take Peter Woods. Again, I think it's a reach, but you know what? I don't think it's a reach for them because Peter Woods is a good player. He can rush the passer, and he can occupy blockers. He's going to be a tough guy to move. If Miami gets Peter Woods, I'd be worried, which I think is going to happen. My New England Patriots. Now, I have been seeing a lot of mocks from my team take Max Ahenkor. I am hoping they go edge here badly, and I'll go through the edge candidates real quick. I would love TJ Parker. I would love Zion Young. I kind of think that the way this draft goes, you could get somebody really good at edge in round 2. I really do. I really think so. I think you might trade up in round 2 to go get your guy. There's also talk they might trade down, which I would not be surprised by because if this board shapes out the way I think it's going to be, they're going to get somebody good in round 2. If I'm my team, I would trade down. But I have this feeling, ideally, they're not going to because I think they're looking at right tackle saying, how long's Morgan Moses going to play? Because I don't think he's going to play much. And I think that's playing a role. I think they're going to take Max Ahenkor from Arizona State. I've seen a lot of mocks from my team take him. I'm going to go with the consensus and go with him. Seattle, they're going to trade down. John Schneider's openly said, we want to trade down. Who's going to trade up? The team that started the draft. The Las Vegas Raiders are going to trade up. They're going to give up, I think, their second to move up. Let Seattle move down a couple spots. They're going to give them a fourth. They got a ton of picks. Seattle is going to trade down. I think the Raiders have a very interesting situation here because I think the Raiders are looking like, okay, well, let's look at what we need. We need best players available, right? We need some secondary help. We need edge, opposite of Crosby. Who's the guy that we want to go get? Well, receiver's a little bit of a reach. I think they're going to go get a guy that, in my opinion, might be a really good player for them. I think they're going to end with, in my mind, somebody I think that is going to go at the end of round 1. I think they're going to go Colton Hood from Tennessee, and that is going to be my mock draft for the first round. I'm not going to do multiple rounds because I'm not going to have you guys sit here and be like, oh my God, Rich, just pick. I could go to round 2 and 3 if I want. I'm not going to do that for you guys. So there you have it. That is my 2026 NFL mock draft.